I want to start off by just stating the reason for this video is to speak up about several of the issues coming up in the Canadian great gun control debate right now on bans and handguns and gun violence. This is my SKS 7.62 by 39. The way I understand it is it's at least the third, more likely the fourth, in the family that has gone to farms for hunting and for predator control. I am allowed to deer hunt with this rifle in my province. I actually bought it for predator control for coyotes. I'm hoping to get some sheep at some point. I'm getting prepared for it. I have already had problems with predators at my poultry. I had some free-range turkeys and a few chickens that would get grabbed in the middle of the night, ripped apart, and eaten alive. So I know that there's plenty of them here. This gun is also, it's too powerful, but it's a backup for my trapping line. Considering how often my trapping rifle jams up, especially in the cold, this may be my only last resort to deal with that aspect of trapping. Hopefully I won't have to, but there's been a great deal of trapping going on in my area. Last year there was well over 50 plus taken out of the area. The year before that was into the hundreds. We have both coyotes and wolves here. These ones. Just some things I'd like to point out about those coyotes and those wolves out in my, very close in my bush on a regular basis. They like to call your dog out. And it's very often how dogs that aren't experienced with the country end up disappearing. When they talk about wildlife in Canada being managed from coast to coast to coast, they're part of the issues that is in that picture. If you don't think they will wipe out their prey, they will. They will decimate populations. It's one of the reasons that, the rules for what you can hunt, how many you can hunt, how many you can trap, what you have to let go, all of those numbers, they're considered. It's think about it, that's why there's a spring season on certain geese, the snow and the Ross. their numbers are out of control and they're destroying habitat. What happens in southern end of the country ends up affecting the northern end of the country. If you don't deal with the different issues, I mean, these wild hogs they're an invasive species, but they're completely destroying habitat. Not just for farms and ranches, it's the natural environment that's being decimated because of those things. This is an intermediate cartridge rifle. Obviously, looking at it with a bayonet on it, this is a military surplus rifle. And it has been touted over and over again as a great firearm, as a ranch gun for those particular types of things. It's also highly recommended. I mean, this gun's been around 80 years. It's a Chinese firearm. You'd think that our government would be smart enough to use the numbers of these firearms that have been purchased in Canada as negotiating to get our hostages back from China. Anyways, I might as well point out some other things here. There's a lot of criticism right now about comments and fear-mongering about things that Scheer has brought up about restoring the capacity. This used to come with 10 rounds. There's more than 10 coyotes in that pack. For hunting, does maintaining this at the five clip harm? No. You shouldn't be taking that shot if you're not going to put it down in one. At the most two. Sometimes you do have to finish it off. So yes, having a few extra makes a difference. But when it comes to predator control, the restriction of 5 rounds costs us livestock. No question. You know, he's not talking about, putting a 30-round clip on this thing. He's talking about restoring what you came from. It still goes to other countries with the 10-round clip. It's very useful with it. It seems that some of you don't quite understand what a semi-automatic rifle is. It means 1 bullet for every pull of the trigger. When it comes to packs, I have multiple targets that I have to get a proper shot at. And the less I move my hands, the more important that becomes. You need to make a proper shot. Doesn't matter that it's a coyote, doesn't matter if it's a wolf, doesn't matter if it just ripped your whatever to shreds. They deserve a proper shot taken. So the only thing that I'm thinking about when I'm using this in that situation is acquiring the target and making sure that the shot isn't going to hit something that I don't want it to, but it's going to be a clean shot for that animal. We won't even leave a rabid skunk to suffer. You don't do it to wolves or coyotes. So that's where, no, a bolt action does not take a place of a semi-automatic. Not in those circumstances. And it shouldn't be forced to take those when hunting. It's not unusual, especially when you're learning or just beginning to hunt, that you need to take a second. And you have seconds to do that. And the last thing you need to be doing is following up, trying to move stuff around and get the bolt to work properly, especially in cold weather. I've already mentioned I got a problem with my trapping rifle. That's one of the things about this gun. It's been tried, tested, and true in so many varied conditions, and it functions. It tends, from what I understand, to lose its accuracy after too many. It's not a gun that's designed to even take a high capacity magazine in the first place. It doesn't work. But what it was designed with the original 10, it's a very, very functional gun. And it's not just, it's a recommended gun, I was going to say it before, for youth, for people starting, and women, because of its low recoil. This is an incredible gun. It's why it's still selling after 80 years. To try and get even more diligent with language. Military surplus, yes. This rifle has never actually been shot in combat. From what I can tell of what cleaning I have done on it, no, it's never been used in that manner. Still not an assault rifle. By definition, an assault rifle requires fully automatic. This is a semi. This doesn't do multiple bursts either. So, by definition, it's still not an assault rifle. This fear-mongering that's going on with definition and language, those guns have been banned since the 70s in Canada. That is not what this is. Military surplus, yes. Canadians have been adapting military surplus rifles for generations now, over 80 years. There's military surplus used as hunting. This one I plan on using in predator control. It's not an unusual thing. It's this idea that a civilian doesn't need one, doesn't use them, totally false. There's of the claiming of how many guns that they're going to have to buy back. Wouldn't be surprised if 250,000 of the guns that they think are there are these ones. There's an incredible number of these guns in the country. They have been. That's part of the frustration. Is 1 week it's this and 1 week it's that. And your fear-mongering and the language that is being used in these arguments right now is just, it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. You know, this is my livelihood. Not shooting at targets, not participating in a sport. I'm trying to live my life and survive as a farmer, as a